Hey, what's up guys, I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to talk about what if the Philadelphia 76ers drafted Jayson Tatum instead of Markelle Fultz, because obviously they traded up to get the #1 overall pick. They didn't use it on Markelle Fultz, who, well, he was injured for a lot of the season, so we really don't know how good he's going to be, but obviously Jayson Tatum was still on the board as he was picked #3 by the Boston Celtics. So I'm going to be going into what they could have done, what they did without drafting him, what they successfully did without him. Then I'll be getting into how Jayson Tatum would help him do more and would have accomplished more if they would have just drafted Jayson Tatum instead of Fultz. So without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to get into is what they did without drafting Jayson Tatum. I'm going to be getting into what they did this year with just Markelle Fultz and like how that kind of worked out. So really, they used the #1 overall pick, obviously, to draft Markelle Fultz, who he showed signs that he could be a great NBA player, maybe that all-star level player a lot of people thought he could be. But he did it in only 14 games, as he missed 68 of them in the regular season and only played 14 games in the regular season total. But in those games, he did show pretty good signs, as he had a triple-double, and he was able to show that he's a pretty good defender, averaging 1 steal per game. So obviously, he wasn't a complete and utter failure, but you'd rather your rookie to play more than 14 games in the season that you draft him. But obviously, they haven't had very good rookie success when it comes to injury. Joel Embiid, I think, missed like his first 2 years due to injury. Ben Simmons missed his entire rookie year due to, well, I guess technically his first year, but it did count as his rookie year. He's a rookie this year. He missed his whole entire first year due to a broken foot, and now something to do with Markelle Fultz's shoulder. He missed pretty much his entire rookie season as well. So there's a real rookie season, in my opinion, is going to be next year. It's going to be his sophomore season, but I think technically I'm going to be considering it his rookie season, and that's going to tell me pretty much how successful he is going to be in the NBA. And then the playoffs wise, they lost in 5 to those Boston Celtics in the Western Conference semifinals, where, I mean, a lot of people thought they were going to beat the Celtics, but the Celtics just beat them in numbers, as it was pretty much Ben Simmons and Embiid. Yes, they had a decent team, but it was Ben Simmons and Embiid versus the Boston Celtics. And yes, they didn't have Kyrie or Gordon Hayward, obviously, but still, they had a way deeper team than the Philadelphia 76ers did. And Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons just weren't old enough, and I mean, not good enough to defeat the entire team of the Boston Celtics, because they're just not as deep as them, and well, it's just pretty hard for 2-on-5 to win. And I'm not saying that they had trash players. Robert Covington's a good player. Bellinelli showed that he's a good shooter. JJ Redick's a great shooter. But I mean, they don't have that other player that's going to help you win a game. So they just ultimately lost in 5. But just think, if they would have signed Jayson Tatum or drafted Jayson Tatum, I'm now getting into what they would have done if they would have drafted Jayson Tatum. If they would have drafted him, they would have had him for the entire season pretty much, as Jayson Tatum only missed 2 games, and both those games were not due to injury. They were just due to resting him before the playoffs. So unlike Markelle Fultz, they would have had him literally the entire season if they wanted to. And instead of the 3rd seed that they finished with this year, they probably would have had the 2nd seed, maybe not the 1st seed, because I still don't think they would have got 60 wins, which they would have needed to top the Raptors, as they had 59 wins. So I don't think they would have got there, but I think they probably would have got the 2nd seed, as I think they finished like 3 games behind the Boston Celtics for the 2 seed. So I think they definitely would have got the 2 seed if they would have signed Jayson Tatum. Plus, they probably would have beat Boston in the semifinals, because just think, they would now have a big 3 of Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jayson Tatum, plus that bench that they had, which is utterly great. They have a great bench. So, like, they would have their bench plus that great big 3 that would play very, very good together. Instead of it just being Ben Simmons and Embiid versus them, it would now be Jayson Tatum, Embiid, and Ben Simmons against it. And then it would also be a huge hit for the Celtics, because instead of the Celtics drafting Jayson Tatum, they would have had to draft someone else. And I think Jayson Tatum was a top 3 rookie, so unless they drafted Donovan Mitchell, they couldn't have had a better player in that draft, which would have been a huge hit, because they wouldn't have had Kyrie or Gordon Hayward. Jayson Tatum, besides Al Horford, was pretty much the leader of that team and what kept their offense running. So without Jayson Tatum, they might not even made the semifinals, but say they do make the semifinals, I think the Philadelphia 76ers would have definitely beat them and would have had to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the conference finals. And I still think the Cavs would have won that series, so they would have ended up losing the conference finals, which is a lot better than what they did this year. I mean, obviously they had huge improvements from what they were, but I think they probably would have made it to the conference finals this year instead of losing in the semis. If they would have got Tatum, and once the talent developed, it would would eventually made the championship, and I think they would be favorites to go to the finals this year, especially if LeBron leaves the East and goes to the West. I think they'd be favorites to make the finals, as the Celtics would no longer have Tatum, and Philadelphia would be just so talented. Plus, they would all be, none of them would be rookies. They would all have like experience in the league. They would have meshed for an entire year. I think they would be favorites to make the finals instead of Boston out of the East this year. But now, outside of the playoffs, what would have happened? Well, their defense right now is already very close to top 10. Right now, they are the 11th seeded defense in the entire NBA. So if you add Tatum, who showed that he can be a pretty good defensive player, they would have probably definitely had a top 5 defensive team. Because Jayson Tatum proved that he's not a great defensive player, but he's a very good one and very efficient on defense. As I mean, he averaged 1 steal per game, which isn't great or anything. But just look, in the conference finals, he stuck the best player in the world, debatably the best player to ever live, LeBron James, and he did a pretty good job. Except for those 2 threes, LeBron just absolutely wet it, and no other, not even Steph Curry probably would have made that shot, or at least those 2 shots completely in the game. Well, Jayson Tatum guarded him very, very good, especially for being a rookie on the best player in the league. He did a very, very good job, and I think he probably did better than most players could in the NBA right now. And then obviously their offense would be probably the 2nd best offense in the league. I don't think it would be better than Golden State's, but I think it would be a very, very good offense, and probably the 2nd best, because they're already like a top 5 offense in the league. So now you just go up 3 spots. They're in the 2nd place, because Jayson Tatum averaged 13.9 points per game, so almost 14 points per game. And then you go into the playoffs, the dude was averaging 18.5 points per game in the playoffs, almost 20 points per game, which is very, very good. And then my last thing that they would have if they signed Jayson Tatum, they'd have a almost unstoppable big 3 or unguardable big 3, as Joel Embiid is already a top 5 center in the league and is not only a paint threat, but is also a 3-point shooter. He's not a knockdown 3-point shooter, but he is a good enough 3-point shooter where you have to respect it, and if you leave him open, he's going to hit it 6 out of 10 times, and like, you just have to respect him. Ben Simmons is obviously already showing that he's one of the best point guards in the league, and I think eventually, by 3 or 4 years, I think people will be counting him as a top 5 player in the league. I really do think that. So, and he's a great driver, and I'm sure he will get a better jump shot eventually. His jump shot is very, very bad, but then Jayson Tatum would then be able to pick up that slack for the jump shooting, because he's just such a good shooter and all-around scorer. He can also handle the ball. That would be their 2nd ball handler. He's an all-around great fit for that team if they would have drafted him. And I think their big 3 would probably, once it develops and meshes and stays together, I think that big 3 would probably be the best big 3 in the league one day. I really do think that, because I think eventually, once a few people retire and Joel Embiid tones his game a little bit, he'll be the best center. Ben Simmons will probably be one of the best point guards in the game, and then Jayson Tatum will probably be a top 10 player in the league one day as well. So I do think they would have one of the best big 3s if they would have had that and drafted that. But unfortunately, guys, it's going to be it for this video. So comment below, do you think that the Philadelphia 76ers could have made the finals if they would have drafted Jayson Tatum? What do you think would have happened if they would have drafted Jayson Tatum? Do you think the Celtics would be as good? I want to hear all your thoughts below. Do you think Markelle Fultz is going to be a bust? I really want to hear all your thoughts below. Comment that. And also, if you have any video ideas you want to see from me, comment those below as well, because if I like the video idea, I'm probably going to make a video on it. I'll give you credit in the video as well, so don't worry about that. And if you did like the video, at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. We're at 201 subscribers. I thank y'all so much for 200 subscribers. Like, thank you. Like, that is unbelievable. 200 people, well, 201 people hit that button and like subscribe. That is unbelievable to me. Thank y'all so much. Hope y'all all have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so y'all need to have a blessed day. Literally everyone in the world have a blessed day, even the people that say I talk too fast, too unclear, and that I clickbait my titles. Y'all have a blessed day too. See you in tomorrow's video. Guys, goodbye.